Estamos aqui com o professor Evert Vedung, da Universidade de Uppsala, e ele vai conversar um pouquinho com a gente sobre a área de avaliação e a experiência dele nessa área. Então eu vou fazer as perguntas em inglês e o professor Evert então responderá também em inglês. Professor Evert, well, first of all, thank you so much for being with us. It's a great pleasure to have you during these weeks. And I would like to begin asking you to introduce yourself, telling us a little bit about your academic trajectory, as well as explaining a little bit for us why you became interested in the area of evaluation and why this became so important for your life and your career.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here in this institution here, SEAG, and also Universidade de Brasilia. I'm a professor emeritus of political science from Uppsala University. Actually, I ended my active life 10 years ago, and I'm a pensionist now, but I work every year after 2012 in Brazil. How come that I became interested in evaluation? It has to do with, we call it serendipity to some extent. It was an accident in a way, because it was in the 1970s. I worked as a political scientist at Uppsala University on energy and environmental public policy. And some agency in Stockholm at that time, in my capital, they sent a question around to universities. Do political scientists have some interesting things to say about energy policy and environmental policy? And this was around 1974, 1973, 74. And I was thinking, I had heard the word evaluation, but it was rather new to me, but I had been thinking about it a little bit. And then when I got this question from an authority, it was a question from the public policy field, so to say. And then I read a little bit more, and I answered that I think we can do something about evaluation. I'm interested in that. I would like to develop that field more. So it was it happened it was the policy system that asked me a question that started my interest in this area, actually. So it wasn't internal in the academy. But this suited me very well, because I've always been interested in cross-disciplinary things, and also in political ideas and intentions and ideologies and things like that. And that suits, so evaluation, which is about goals and values and how you assess results and so on, suited me very well. But it was an outside impetus that made it for me.
Professor Evert, since you became interested in evaluation, you have made research in a lot of publications also in the area of evaluation. How do you characterize your major works, and what do you think are the major contributions you have made for the area and your major interests in the area of evaluation?
Oh, that's also a very good question for me. I have taken a broad view of evaluation. I would say almost always. I have a broad view of what evaluation is. Basically, it means look at the results and look at the roles towards these results, that is the implementation, and try to see if it is good or not. This is my include implementation in evaluation. Evaluation is not only about results, also about implementation processes, first of all. I think my major things, the major things I have contributed to this discussion is my book Public Policy and Program Evaluation, which came out in 1997. It takes, kind of a systematic overview of the whole field of evaluation. This has interested me. I'm not only interested in the goal achievement model, but also side effects models, stakeholder models, target-oriented models, and so on, economic models. So I wanted to give an overview of the whole field. And I was kind of surprised when I worked on this book that nobody in Europe had written such a book before, not even the British, who are English speakers. And this book was actually much later. It was nominated as the first book covering the whole field, written by a European. So that has been important to me, to give overviews. And then my interest in public policy instruments, that is not intervention in general, but specific things in public policy. The power instruments of governments. And I have edited a book called Carrots, Sticks and Sermons. And I mean that governments can use 3 types of power instruments. They can force you, or they can pay you, or take away resources from you, and they can argue with you, they can sermonize, so to say. So I regard this also as a thing that I myself value to some extent. And the third thing is about evaluation history, where I argue that evaluation will never disappear. It will be with us. But it comes in waves. We have had 4 waves up till now, during the time that I can overview. First of all, it was a wave about making public policy more scientific, by, for instance, experimental methods. Secondly, people started to say, no, it should not be scientific, it should be democratic instead. It should be made by the people, not about the researchers. So they preferred dialogue and the stakeholder models and things like that. Democratic evaluation. Then came the neoliberal wave, stressing very much the clients, the consumers, the target's right to be heard, target-oriented evaluation, consumer-oriented evaluation, but also accountability to representative government. And now we have a 4th wave called evidence-based wave, again, arguing that it is too much about target groups and talks and rules of thumb and everything. You should have evidence in government for what you are doing. So I regard these 3 works as my maybe best contributions so far.
Thank you so much. Professor Evert, the final question. You have been in Brazil for 3 times, 4 times right
4
now?
times?
4 times right now. And I would like...
5 times.
5 times. 5 times. And I would like to hear a little bit about your impressions of the country, and more specifically, how you see that the evaluation and the field evaluation can contribute for the development of the country and to produce better public policies in this country.
Yeah, this is a big question, and of course I know Brazil too little in order to answer it in a good fashion. but I tend to think that evaluation is a good thing. You should not exaggerate the possibilities with evaluation. It depends on the utilization of the results. So I tend to stress the utilization of the results, and I tend to think that there are several things in evaluation that is good for the public sector. One idea I have, and this is kind of common to the field of evaluation, is the idea of program theories or intervention theories. It's very good if politicians and other decision makers from the beginning think through exactly what is it that you would like to produce out there in nature or in society. We call it outcome. And what are the roads towards the outcome that you as a politician or decision maker want to pursue? Who are the targets, for instance, the people out there that you want to reach? And what are the interventions by which you hope to reach the targets and the outcomes out there? I mean, this kind of, it's not a scientific theory, it's kind of a political theory, a policy theory. And I think to think more about this, I think it's very useful actually in the public sector of today. And as a corollary to this, develop indicators that fits the program theory, every step of it. Don't make too many indicators, don't collect too much data, make it easy. So that's another thing. And I also believe in looking at side effects. It could be good also in Brazil to look at side effects, positive or negative. And it should also maybe be good. Nowadays we have complicated public policies. A kind of, we call it transversal public policy, for instance, or mainstreaming of the public policies and so on. And it's, I tend to think it's good to think through what these new types of policy implies and how they should be implemented. So this is a field in transition. Many new things has happened to me during my career, and it has improved enormously, the field of public policy. And concerning Brazil, I'm very fond of Brazil. It has enormous potential in Brazil, and I feel very welcome in this country. Maybe it suits my temperament very well. So I'm very fond of the Brazilians, actually. I have said before that I don't agree with the saying I've heard so many times in Brazil, that look at this wonderful country. We have the best beaches in the world, the most fantastic rivers, enormous mountains, savannas. We have everything, if it were not for the people. I've heard. I don't agree with that. It's nothing wrong with the people here. Maybe some of the institutions could be improved. That's maybe a little bit of my view on this. So thank you, Brazil, for inviting me. I'm very glad. And thank you, Paulo, for always supporting me and inviting me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor.